You did not get saved to merely survive. Yeshua saved you to build. And if you're tired of just barely getting by, living paycheck to paycheck, crisis to crisis, relationship to relationship, you're not crazy, but you might still be stuck in Egypt. I'm talking to the ones that got out, but Egypt didn't get out of you. You're free on the outside, but still thinking like a slave on the inside. Today is not about hype. It's about breaking the mindset that's been keeping you bound even after deliverance. Deliverance is instant. Development is a process, and survival is no longer your assignment. Let's talk about how to leave Egypt for good. Let me describe survival mode for you. Maybe you'll recognize yourself. You're always finding yourself in situations where you have to put out fires, never building anything lasting. You're grateful for just enough instead of expecting abundance. You make decisions based on fear instead of faith. You're reactive instead of proactive. You're maintaining instead of multiplying. You celebrate small victories instead of pursuing greater victories. Does that sound familiar? You're not alone. Millions of believers are stuck in what I call Egypt mentality, even though they've been delivered from Egypt. When we look at Exodus 16 from verse 2 to 3, in the desert, the whole community grumbled against Moses and Aaron. The Israelites said to them, "If only we had died by the Lord's hand in Egypt. There we sat around pots of meat and ate all the food we wanted. But you have brought us out into this desert to starve this entire assembly to death." The Israelites had been delivered from slavery, but their minds were still stuck in bondage. They preferred the predictability of oppression to the uncertainty of freedom. And many of us are doing the same thing today. We've been delivered from sin, addiction, poverty, dysfunction, but we're still thinking like victims instead of victors. Now, here's what survival mode costs you. Number one, your purpose. When you're just trying to make it through the day, you never step into what you were made for. Number two, your potential. You settle for far less than what God has planned for you. Number three, your peace. You live in constant anxiety instead of confident expectation. Number four, your prosperity. You can't leave a legacy when you're just trying to survive. Proverbs 13 verse 22 says, "A good person leaves an inheritance for their children's children, but a sinner's wealth is stored up for the righteous." Survival mode keeps you focused on today. Legacy gets you thinking and prepares you for generations. Let me show you God's pattern throughout Scripture. He doesn't just deliver people from something, He delivers them to something. And in Genesis 12 verse 1 to 3, the Lord had said to Abram, "Go from your country, your people, and your father's household to the land I will show you. I will make you into a great nation, and I will bless you. I will make your name great, and you will be a blessing. And I will bless those who bless you, and whoever curses you, I will curse. And all peoples on earth will be blessed through you." God didn't just call Abram out of his place of birth. He called him to a promised land, to become a great nation, to bless all families on earth. That's bolder language, not survivor language. The Israelites weren't just delivered from slavery. They were delivered to a land flowing with milk and honey. But here's the key. They had to build when they got there. Deuteronomy 6 verse 10 to 12 says, "When the Lord your God brings you into the land He swore to your fathers, to Abram, Isaac, and Jacob, to give you a land with large, flourishing cities you did not build, houses filled with all kinds of goods that you did not provide, wells you did not dig, vineyards and olive groves you did not plant. Then when you eat and are satisfied, be careful that you do not forget the Lord who brought you out of Egypt, out of the land of slavery." Notice that God gave them cities that they did not build, wells that they did not dig. But that was the foundation, not the finish. They were supposed to build from there, not just live off of what was already there. Let's go a little deeper. Matthew 16 verse 18 says, "And I tell you that you are Peter, and on this rock I will build my church, and the gates of Hades would not overcome it." Jesus didn't come to earth to survive Satan's attacks. He came to build something that would overcome hell itself. And that's the mindset that we're supposed to have. John 14 verse 12 says, "Very truly I tell you, whoever believes in me will be doing works I have been doing, and they will do even greater things than these, because I am going to the Father." Jesus expected his followers to build upon what he started. He wasn't training survivors, he was training builders. Let's look at 2 Timothy 4 verse 7 through to 8. It says, "I have fought the good fight. I have finished the race. I have kept the faith. Now there is in store for me the crown of righteousness, which the Lord, the righteous judge, will award to me on that day. And not only to me, but also to those who have longed for his appearing." Paul didn't just survive persecution. He didn't just survive imprisonment. He didn't just survive punishment or hardship. He built churches across the Roman Empire. He wrote half of the New Testament. He trained leaders who trained other leaders. That's legacy thinking. That's builder mentality. The fundamental shift from survival to building is moving from scarcity thinking to abundance thinking. And I always preach this. Scarcity thinking says there's not enough for everyone. I better take what I can. I need to protect what I have. Someone else's success threatens mine. But abundance thinking says God has more than enough for everyone. I can create value and wealth. I can invest and multiply what I have. Someone else's success proves what's possible. Ephesians 3 verse 20 says, "Now to him who is able to do exceedingly abundantly above and beyond all we can think, ask, or imagine, according to his power that is at work within us." Another translation says, "immeasurably more." That's not survival language. That is the language of an abundance thinker. That's the language of abundance. And what we see clearly is that survivors react to circumstances, but builders create circumstances. Nehemiah 2 verse 17 to 18 says, "Then I said to them, you see the trouble we are in? Jerusalem lies in ruin, and its gates have been burned with fire. Come, let us rebuild the walls of Jerusalem, and we will no longer be in disgrace." I also told them about the gracious hand of my God on me and what the king had said to me. They replied, "Let us start rebuilding." So they began this good work. Nehemiah didn't survive the destruction of Jerusalem. He initiated the rebuilding. He moved from reaction to action. And one of the biggest differences between survival mode and builder mode is how you handle your resources. Survival mode says that I need to maintain what I have. Builder mode says I need to multiply what I have. And we know that God works in multiplication. Even though he's called us to steward what he has given us, he wants us to multiply. We all know the story of the talents. I don't want to go into the full story, but I'm going to quote a few of those scriptures. Matthew 25 verse 14 through to 29. It's the parable of the talents. His master replied, "Well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful with a few things. I will put you in charge of many things. Come and share your master's happiness." The servants who multiplied their talents were promoted. The one who maintained his talent was condemned. God expects multiplication, not preservation. Survival thinking is focused on the temporary. Older thinking is focused on the eternal. 1 Corinthians 3 verse 10 to 15 says, "By the grace God has given me, I laid a foundation as a wise builder, and someone else is building on it. But each one should build carefully. For no one can lay any foundation other than the one already laid, which is Jesus Christ. If anyone builds on this foundation using gold, silver, costly stones, wood, hay, or straw, their work will be shown for what it is, because the day will bring it to light." Paul Paul's talking about building with eternal materials, building things that will last beyond your lifetime. And that's another difference between surviving and building. Survivors are looking to get through the day. Builders are focused on impacting eternity. Now, I'm going to give you 5 pillars of a builder's mentality. Number 1, it's your vision beyond your current experience. Habakkuk 2 verse 2 through to 3 says, "Then the Lord replied, write down the vision and make it plain on tablets so that a herald may run with it, for the vision or the revelation awaits an appointed time. It speaks of the end and will not prove false, though it may tarry." I like that one. Though it may linger, wait for it. It will certainly come and it will not delay. Builders have a vision that is bigger than their current circumstances. They can see what does not exist yet and work toward making it real. And number 2, they have systems over solutions. Survivors look for solutions to immediate problems. Builders create systems that prevent problems and generate opportunities. Proverbs 21 verse 5 says, "The plans of the diligent lead to profit as surely as haste leads to poverty." Diligence isn't working hard. Diligence is working systematically with a plan. Then number 3, investment over consumption. Survival mode is about consumption, if we are being real. Getting what you need for today. Builder mode is about investment, using today's resources to create tomorrow's abundance. Luke 6 verse 38 says, "Give, and it will be given unto you, a good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over will be poured into your lap. For with the measure you use, it will be measured unto you." And I know that we use this for tithing, but it's not just about money. It's about your time. It's about your energy. It's about your talents, your relationships. Builders invest in all these areas. Psalm 78 verse 4 says, "We will not hide them from their descendants. We will tell the next generation of the praiseworthy deeds of the Lord, his power, and the wonders he has done." And as we mentioned before, that builders are thinking generationally, not just personally. And then the last one, number 5, faith over fear. Survival mode is driven by fear. What if I don't have enough? What if something goes wrong? What if I fail? Builder mode is driven by faith. What if God does something incredible through me? What if I succeed beyond my wildest dreams? What if my obedience changes generations? 2 Timothy 1 verse 7 says, "For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, of love, and a sound mind." The number one thing that is keeping people stuck in survival mode is the fear of failure. We all know this. We all talk to ourselves about failure and we know what it looks like. But Ecclesiastes 11 verse 4 says, "Whoever watches the wind will not plant. Whoever looks at the clouds will not reap." If you wait for perfect conditions, you'll never start building. Faith requires you to start before you see the end. And something that people don't think about is that people will often choose familiar pain over unfamiliar growth. Survival mode is stressful, but it's predictable and it's less painful because you can predict the pain. Building requires you to step into uncertainty. It requires you to step into the unknown, and that's uncomfortable and it's unpredictable. But Joshua 1 verse 9 says, "Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go." God does not promise that the road will be easy. He does not promise that the path will be comfortable. He promises that he will be with us every step of the way. When you start building, you'll face criticism from people who are still in survival mode. They will tell you that you're being unrealistic, irresponsible, or prideful. But Nehemiah 4 verse 1 through to 3 says, "When Sanballat heard that we were rebuilding the wall, he became angry and was greatly incensed. He ridiculed the Jews, and in the presence of his associates and the army of Samaria, he said, "What are those feeble Jews doing? Will they restore their wall?" Nehemiah faced mockery for building, but he kept building anyway because he knew God had called him to build, not to please critics. Building is harder than surviving in the short term. There will be moments when you will want to get back to the predictability of just getting by. And Galatians 6 verse 9 says, "Let us not become weary of doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up." The harvest comes to those who don't give up. Quitters never build a lasting legacies. Right now, as you're listening to me, oh, one of you, you're at a defining moment. You can choose to stay in survival mode, comfortable, predictable, limited, or you can choose to step into a builder mode, challenging, uncertain, unlimited. Ruth 1 verse 16 says, "But Ruth replied, 'Don't urge me to leave you or to turn back from me. Where you go, I will go, and where you stay, I will stay. Your people will be my people, your God, my God.'" Ruth made a decision that changed her and generational line. She chose to build over surviving. She ended up in the lineage of Jesus Christ. Here's how you know if you're ready to leave your survival mode. Ask yourself this question: if I could go back to the way things were before God disrupted my life, would I? If the answer is yes, you're still stuck in Egypt. If the answer is no, if you'd rather face uncertainty with God than predictability without Him, you're ready to build. I want you to say this out loud with me. I'm not just called to survive. I am called to build. I am not delivered to live in bondage. I am delivered to create a legacy. I am not saved to be mediocre. I am saved to be mighty. I choose building over surviving, faith over fear, legacy over comfort. Before you leave this video, I want you to do 3 things. Number 1, I want you to comment down below the word build. Only if you're ready to stop surviving and start building, and not just building anything, but building your legacy. And number 2, I want you to write down one thing you're going to start building in the next 30 days. Doesn't have to be huge, just something that moves you from maintenance to multiplication. And then number 3, I'd like you to share this video with someone you believe needs to hear this message. There are people in your life who are stuck in survival mode and they don't even realize it. This could be the message that changes that for them. Isaiah 43 verse 18 through to 19 says, "Forget the former things. Do not dwell on the past. See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? I am making a way in the wilderness and streams in the wasteland." God is making a way for you to build where others said it was impossible. He's creating streams in the wasteland of your past limitations. Remember, deliverance is instant, but development is a process. You might not see your full legacy today, but every step you take in faith is building something eternal. 1 Corinthians 15 verse 58 says, "Therefore, my dear brothers and sisters, stand firm. Let nothing move you. Always give yourself fully to the work of the Lord, because you know that your labor in the Lord is not in vain." Your building work is not in vain, even when you can't see it, even when others don't understand it, even when progress seems slow. You are building something that will outlast you. I commission you today to leave the survival mode behind and step into your calling as a builder. You have everything you need to start. God's Spirit, God's Word, God's promises, and God's presence. Stop living like you're just trying to make it another day. Start building like you're meant to make history. Well, that's it from me today. Don't forget, comment, build below, share what you're going to start building, pass this message along. Your legacy starts now.